Challenge Racing.
Looking for the green flag, and it's up. The race is on. Allez Vite. Let's go fast, gentlemen and ladies.
Speaking of 151, look at him get out.
So they're off to a decent start here.
The boys from Long Island transplanted to Fort Myers. They work for Sean Torrente. So they're around this stuff all the time. Nick Impression, Ian Morgan out to an early lead. Let's see how the camera follows them. We have the Speed on the Water photographer, Pete Bowden, is out on the Malia. So he's going to be able to give us weather updates going into each race.
All right, your factory 450R stock boats are out. 151 with the early lead. That's GC Racing on the outside. The red 96 Doug Wright boats in between them. Gladiator Canado's back a bit. He had a pretty good starting position. They're heading out towards...
He was lane 2.
Yeah, he was lane 2. But 151, boy, they hit their setup on the start. They got out to good speed here.
Yeah, that was, I think there was a little bit of luck there with a quick green flag, Steve.
Yeah,
they just happened to have it right.
They got a good start, but don't forget they just ran Mod V too. They know that they know what's out here right now.
Yeah, we're going to get an idea of maybe a little more chop here. Look, Gladiator Canados is moving up on the inside.
Carcenti, the wily veteran, and right outside, I thought I saw the Doug Wright right there on Nick and Ian's hip as well.
And Carcente was hoping for rough water. He's raced to Europe. He's raced XCAT. And he says, I'm ready for some rough stuff. Bring it on. And it looks like they have taken the lead here in the 38 Doug Wright with Irvin Grant at his side. That's 38 Doug Wright. All these boats have the factory, the 450R four-stroke engines, the supercharged engines from Mercury Racing. And that is your leader coming around in front of turn 2, down by Fort Zachary Taylor. Again, that afternoon sun is setting in. We're going to get a ton of glare here the rest of the day.
I think the folks on that sailboat have the best seats for watching that action.
We got a Doug Wright, an MTI,
and
in the
I
top
believe
2.
another Doug Wright.
Yep,
right
so it is Gladiator Canados in the early lead here.
Yep.
As they head into the Monster Energy fan zone across the start-finish line. Michel Carcente of France with Irvin Grant with the early lead here in Gladiator Canados. 151 in second.
Doug Wright Powerboats in third.
Number 96.
TS coming up to fourth.
TS Motorsports, and then GC Racing in fifth, followed by Hank Saloon. All 6 boats around on the first lap. 10 laps here today.
And here's a look at the boat that used all of the laps in the last turn before they won on Friday. And TS Motorsports is making a move on Doug Wright.
On the inside, my goodness, stride to the pin, and he is pinching them in, and he just got around them.
I think there was a little contact there.
As the MTI boat holds through and passes the 96 Doug Wright.
That was aggressive.
And now moves up into third place.
There's a world title at stake. I guess you have to get aggressive, right, Steve?
Well, yeah, but you also need to finish.
Yep.
Beautiful shot of that 39 Marine Technologies hole. That's Taylor Sism at the wheel, and John Tomlinson, over 24 world championships to his credit in various classes. Now we look on top from the X-Insurance Helicam at the boat running in third overall here at the start of the final day of racing in factory 450R stock.
And here GC Racing looks like they're overtaking Doug Wright now. I wonder if the red boat's having a problem, because here comes Hank Saloon. Looks like they're pulling right up alongside as well.
You know, that boat had to get put back together after being turning over on the first lap in Clearwater. It's been a good amount of time upside down. They were unable to rescue it, had to tow it all the way to the pits, and that had to be quite a project. All right, looking at your leader, it appears still to be Gladiator Canados as they run up towards Fort Zachary Taylor. Running pretty well, not getting too much air. I think where we saw in the second race in Class 1 is when they start coming into the harbor.
Yep.
And running into some of the uneven bottom that you get there. The cruise ships come in and out of here 3 times a week, and it definitely shifts sand around.
The X-Insurance helicopter giving us a good look there.
As they make the turn.
They seem
At
to.
2.
Yep,
A little bit of air. There you go.
Yep. You called it. You make that turn and you get the wind shift basically because it's coming from a different direction. So it still looks like Gladiator, and one of the MTIs is in second.
Yeah, the wind right now to the east here on the island about 10 miles an hour. Offshore it's about 15, but we're just not seeing it affecting it as you might expect with that outgoing tide out by turn number 2, as much as it was on Friday in the earlier races. Here's your leader after 2 laps, Gladiator Canados. Michel Carcente of France in the 38, Doug Wright, 151 Express in second.
Yeah, Pete Bowden just told me the wind is picking up a little bit out there.
And the
So
Marine
TS Motorsports up to third. GC fourth.
waiting for Hank Saloon. There's the 96 Doug Wright. Now back to fifth, and
Hanks will be bringing up sixth.
all 6 boats through here after lap number 2 of 10. Yeah, the forecast is for the east wind 15 to 18 this afternoon. And you just got to wait for old Mother Nature to try and agree with the meteorologist. And it's a game, Steve, that
Yes,
you
it
got
is.
to play. I mean, you know what the tide's going to do, but what's the wind going to do? And here on the island, and folks look at the course, are like, man, that entire course is behind the island, but the wind you had on Friday is a wind that is very bothersome out of the southeast. It was hitting the boats at the front. You weren't able to run straight into it as Michel Carcente continues to lead in the stock 450R class, and now Marine Technologies behind them has moved into second.
Yep. MTI is up to second.
In front of 151 Express, and 151 Express off screen appears to be under power. It looks like GC Racing is going to pass them as well.
Now, we don't know, but that almost has a look of Guardian
Potentially,
for
yes.
151.
That's a shame there for the Gladiator, because had the 151 been able to run with him in second place the rest of the way, it was Gladiator's World Championship. Instead, with TS and GC making the move here, those two are back in the lead of the World Championship run.
Look
Yeah,
at
because they were 1-2 basically.
Yeah, coming in. And again, with Gladiator taking 151 Express, it was there for them to have the World Championship and 151 run to a third place podium there.
But now Hanks is back up and passing Doug Wright, so
Key Wester Lee Murray at the wheel, and longtime powerboat racer Edwin Shear is on the throttles of the Key West sponsored Hank Saloon team. So anyway, guessing game, and you guys were right on it because it was right at the beginning of the tide and it was a hard decision to make.
Yeah, lap 4, the course changed. It was getting rougher and rougher. By lap 6, we were ballasting quite a bit. I think we were pumping probably still as we came through
Oh,
here.
yeah, I
we can see
remember
it.
seeing
Yeah,
it
we
coming
can
out
see
the
it.
side when you were coming
Yeah,
in.
we
but
couldn't pump near as soon as you would think by the lap 6 or 7. We were having to hold the ballast almost into the harbor.
And we watched the Hank Saloon team coming across eastbound towards Fort Zachary, turn number 2. And now your leader coming back into the harbor, that's Gladiator Canados, as they turned the lap at just a shade under 84 miles an hour on the last run through. They've got that boat set up just proper.
yeah, it looks great. Nice attitude.
Into the Monster Energy Drink fan zone here at the start-finish line.
What are you clocking for speed on them?
Continuing to hold at just a shade under 84.
And let's see if this is TS coming in second.
And it is.
All right.
39 MTI with Taylor Sissom and Johnny Tomlinson.
And now they're being stalked by GC Racing
That's the battle for the World Championship there in second and third.
right there.
The GC Racing holding third. Hank Saloon and,
Battle for Doug Wright
yep,
for
with the,
4 and 5, but we did not see 151
Right.
come by.
that means Hank Saloon fourth, the 96 Doug Wright in fifth. Here comes 151. They now move back to sixth.
But they look to be off the pace.
That's a shame, not only for them, but like I said, the Gladiator. It made things real interesting for the Gladiator with the 151
Yep.
running.
And the thing is
Whatever issues 151 is having, they're still having it.
yeah,
Beautiful shot. That boat is is set up just perfectly, just making enough contact with the water.
Well, plus they, Troy Hannon at Supreme Marine, who's a veteran racer, rigged this boat, and I'm pretty sure they keep it at his shop, and he is here supporting them. So not bad to have a guy like that helping you with the setup.
Boat chasing them, TS Motorsports.
It'll be interesting to see here if GC can make up time on Johnny and Taylor.
So Gladiator Canados heading out to turn number 1. So as you're approaching, you start getting a little feel for it, I imagine. You start approaching number 1. You're about 3/4 out.
Yeah, it was right at the corner for the first 2 or 3 laps. It moved back right about to the big white. We were using the big white one out there.
The turnboat, the
yeah,
Malia.
Yeah.
we would use that as a pickup point for ballasting, and it became sooner and sooner as the race went on for our race.
Looking back at the team that had the early lead, had a good start and were running second. Nick Imprescia and Ian Morgan, they work at Sean Torrente Racing. They have great, background working with these big 450R 4-stroke engines, and had a good start, but having some issues and have fallen back. And the unmistakable 39 MTI of Taylor Sism, and they ran down and got up into second place. They got it into first place, I'm sure. Wasn't it first place on Friday?
They took the win
right,
on
they got
Friday in the
past,
last turn.
GC Racing, right.
Coming across the finish, I think they had him by a nose.
Yep. And I told Johnny, I said, so you reeled him in? He says, it wasn't as easy as it looked.
And
He just got it, he said.
I saw Sean at breakfast yesterday. He said he was going in Guardian mode.
Was he?
He said he started having issues with it, I think, with 2 to go.
yeah, Gladiator crosses. What's the split there, Todd?
I'll get it for you here in a second. Again, running just a shade under 84 miles an hour. GC Racing
I mean,
still on the podium for today in the third.
for right now, it doesn't look like GC's making up anything on TS, though.
And that's TS's biggest component right now is just keep your eyes on GC more than anything else.
Right.
You get the podium, second place today in the World Championship. Just keep you in front of GC. That's all you got to do.
I mean, if the opportunity presents itself to get around Gladiator Canados,
Sure.
and have them set a pick, let them fight with each other,
Absolutely. Why not?
then you take that. But you don't push too hard to catch. You just hold enough to maintain your advantage. And we don't have to tell John Tomlinson anything about strategy.
The 96 Doug Wright team of Logan Adon and Ricky Maldonado pull through in 5th place overhead, looking down on Irving Grant and Michel Carcente. Michel from France, he's raced XCAT, he's raced in the Factory 2 here in the United States. He's raced Super V.
Hey, you race with Mike Siebold.
That's right. There's 151 Express pulling up the back of the pack here.
And my understanding is they do plan to race this boat again next year. And there's GC. Willie made the change to Torrente for this race, and it certainly looks to be paying off so far.
Right now, the TS Motorsports team 8.5 seconds behind the leader, Gladiator Canados. As they make the turn around turn number 1, 3-pin turn there. And then they get a little bit high on the bow there, settle down the 38 Doug Wright. 3 Doug Wrights, 3 Marine Technology hulls in this class.
And through the season, you can't really say that one brand has had an advantage in the rough or the smooth, or it's just been set up. It's been, any given race kind of thing, really.
And that's what you want in this class. It's a stock class.
Yep.
And you expect it to be one class racing, and it all comes down to setup and how you drive the course.
And parity, basically.
Absolutely. No, it's what you want. And if you're gonna spend this kind of money to come out and race, you want to have an even playing field, so to speak, on the water. And here comes your leader one more time. This will be the end of lap number 5, halfway through this race. And after taking the early lead, this is where they've been all day long. Gladiator Canados, as they pull through here into the Monster Energy fan zone. Ticked up their speed just slightly to 84.5 miles an hour. And then Marine Technologies, Sism and Tomlinson continuing to run in second. And I've got Canados about 11 seconds in front now. I think GC Racing might be pulling a little closer to the TS boat. We'll keep an eye on that as well. That might be a developing race story. Who has the finish in front of who between those two MTIs, Joey? The TS Motorsports and GC Racing.
It's a whoever does. It doesn't really matter. Whoever finishes in front is going to finish in front because there's only 10 points separating the two of them. So really, it's pretty much a virtual tie coming into this sucker right now. So whoever finishes in front is going to get that higher spot on the podium.
And Lee Murray of Key West, along with Edwin Shear, Hank Saloon running in fourth. After at the halfway point of this 44.5 mile race, 44.8 miles per hour actually.
And here's the Doug Wright out of the Manatee Marine Camp, and believe they're building a new one for next year, plus a Class 1 boat. So they're going to be busy.
Watching number 66, 151 Express as they continue to run way off the pack here after that great start. Beautiful shot of a boat with an incredible livery. The GC Racing team.
And GC Racing did finish second overall here last year.
That's right. And you know, I did say it was the first podium for them earlier this week. I went back and checked it, and I was wrong. I'll admit it. And no, not the first podium for them. They had the previous with Gary Blue on board. And here comes 151 Express. Gotta love all of this young blood that's coming up in the sport, guys.
These two were in their early 20s. Logan Eden is either 18 or 19.
Yeah.
Mead, the Mead family racing, he's 16 or 17. And all the young kids that we're going to see later in the bracket classes, I'd say the sport's going to have some.
Yeah, and it's what you absolutely need the new generation to come up, and we're seeing it. Julian Maldonado leading alongside Reese Langheim. He's the throttle man of the Jackhammer team, coming into the final race of the Superstock World Championships, 2 races away, and they've won everything here this week. So they're poised to get their first ever World Championship in Jackhammer. And here comes the leader, Gladiator Canados, as Michelle Carcente, owner of the yacht company, pulls into Key West Harbor on lap number 6.
Outboard powered big day yachts. Beautiful boats that were on display at the Fort Lauderdale show.
Dropped down to about 82.5 miles an hour on that lap.
And here's TS coming by.
See how far back they are. TS Motorsports still running about 9 seconds behind, just less than 2 seconds behind of TS Motorsports GC Racing.
Now, Joey, could, God forbid it happens, but if there was some attrition, could Hanks work their way up on?
At this point, again, with 151 Express has to run all the way through. But yeah, if there's some attrition and you lose it, maybe GC and TS, something happens with those two, then yeah, Hanks could come up and find his way into a 3rd place. Yes, you'd have to have TS and GC go bottom 2 at this point.
And Edwin Shear, and I mean, he was in Motion Power Boats. He was in, Team Thoroughbred. Yeah. He's had a long history in the sport. But
yeah, they were all Motion Power Boats. He had the Kamikaze, Mellons. And then the Thoroughbred, which he ran with Johnny Tomlinson when it was the triple engine outboard class in like 1991, I believe, 1990.
But right now, it's Monsieur Carcente
Yes, sir. As a 96 Doug Wrights follows through, holding 5th place here. They're supposed to have a completely new boat next year to run out of Doug Wright powerboats. As we look overhead from the X Insurance Helicam at your overall leader, Michelle Carcente, Irvin Grant, Gladiator Canados.
Let's see if Johnny can make his move, because this is where he started to make his move on Friday. But like you said before, Michelle likes the rough water too. No, it looks like Carcente's pulling away a little bit here. So yeah, he called the setup for sure so far today, Steve.
Yeah, he really appears to be able to run the boat super
But look
hard.
look at GC sneaking up there on. Okay, this is I think this is 151, well off the pace coming in, or no? We'll have to wait and see because of the glare. But I think this is 151,
Yeah, it is 151.
and Gladiator is coming up on the inside of them, probably to try to put a lap on them.
Yes.
But this is where lap traffic is going to get interesting for the lead boats trying to make time on each other.
So 151 Express will come through, holding 6th position, but he's going to get lapped by the leaders. Here's
And I'm sure their land-based team is telling them, stay to the outside, don't interfere in the race if you can help it, kind of thing.
Gladiator Canados to the inside, heading to the pin. Marine Technologies, GC Racing.
GC Racing is making a move.
Yeah, they're
going to
try and take advantage of this.
Yep.
And let's see if they get blocked by the Marine Technologies boat. They're going to hold the line heading to the pin behind the leader. Try and watch this on the live stream if possible.
We've got, okay, yep, let's see
Yeah,
what
we'll
happens
just
in the
stay
harbor
here.
here. We could stay on this shot, that'd be great.
Vicente is clean through the turn.
Yeah.
And
151 was outside there, you could see
Yep.
that. So both GC and MTI got underneath, but it looks like GC is trying really hard to come up the inside, but then
Yeah,
had to switch.
they did, and now they had to dive to the outside. They had to go through the water, longer course around,
And now
they
Johnny can
blocked
get
it.
on
Yeah,
the throttles
Johnny blocked
quicker.
them. Look at how well he blocked them, and now has had to get them to try and get back up to speed.
Right.
And they fell back substantially. They lost substantially from 2 boat lengths to about 8 or 9.
That's tough when you give up all that hard work. You're almost
Yep.
there, and something doesn't work out. You give it all back.
So yeah, they had reeled them in within, like I said, 2 boat lengths, and now they got to gain it all back again. We're down to the last 3 laps of this race,
Yep.
and it's been the day of Gladiator Canados running in first. 2nd place, there's your team, Taylor Sism and John Tomlinson in the Marine Technologies team.
And we just had Halloween. I wonder if anyone else dressed up as Taylor Sism for Halloween like they did 2 years ago. Here's Ricky Maldonado and Logan Aden and the Doug Wright the factory sponsored boat.
Right, that's happening here for our local fans on the Mole and listening live on 97.7 Sports Radio. That's off the live stream.
Yep, we're still watching Gladiator Canados in first. Impressive run so far today.
He's approaching those of you listening at Fort Zachary Taylor. It's been his day. He wanted the rough water, and not sure he got exactly what he wanted, although he seems to be carrying a little more bow and coming across midway between 1 and 2. Now you'll catch that uneven bottom across the harbor as you come in right near the jetty at Fort Zachary.
Yep, Johnny and Taylor tried to take that tight, but now let's see where they're going to want to go, because I think Michelle's trying to stay to the inside as much as he can here with Irvin Grant. Yep.
Yep, holding his line, setting up his line and to get the inside lane to the turn.
And like Joey said before, it's really more for MTI is just to keep, or TS, whatever is to keep GC behind them than to try to catch Gladiator.
Here comes Green Technologies.
Yep.
They'll go to the outside there. GC Racing made up a couple of boat lengths on the run out there. Just 2 laps left to go here in this stock 450 class. Got Canados averaging just a shade under 85 miles an hour on that last lap. Supercats run next. Supercats.
10 of them.
Yep, and 14 laps, just like the Class 1 boats ran, and 62.72 miles an hour. Coming out of the harbor turn off camera, we'll watch, and no change there. Everybody comes through clean. Tough day for young Ian and Nick. Had the good start.
But they're still running.
Oh, absolutely.
And here's Hanks, who probably would have liked to have had a more time up front for the hometown crowd, but they still get a lot of support from the locals.
Absolutely, and a lot going on there. A lot of experience in that cockpit. Good. Look forward to seeing them again next year.
Yep.
Hank Saloon out of Key West.
And the class has voted to keep the 450s for another season because Mercury introduced the new 500R. And the 500R, right now, the only race boat that has those is the Stancombs, former Peppers 36 skater. And we'll have to see where that winds up class-wise next season.
We watch Carcente and Grant come across towards Fort Zachary Taylor, now digging in for the 2-pin turn to head northbound into Key West Harbor. With the sun now to their southwest overhead. As we're getting word from the course that the 96 Doug Wright team is beginning to struggle or might be having some gardening issues of their own.
Yeah, they're slowing down, and you can see them crabbing there. Like,
Yeah, there's something there. You know, they had that contact on lap 1
yep,
with the Taylor
with
Sisson
TS,
team.
yep.
But the Taylor's right sponson in the front where the contact was, it looks good, but maybe they have some damage over on the port side we can't see from here.
Oh,
Here they come.
I mean, it's speculation, but it's educated speculation from Steve, so there's a good possibility these things happen. I mean, you don't want contact.
You don't.
Rubbing's not part of offshore racing.
No.
There's too much that can go wrong out on the water.
I got my fair share this weekend here.
All right,
Gladiator Canados.
the white
Through.
flag lap.
86 miles an hour on that lap. 1 lap to go for them to wrap up a win today. Marine Technologies poised to win their second consecutive world championship with a second place finish here today. GC Racing will do whatever they can to get around them here, but what they lost on the last turn into the harbor was certainly very hard on them. They went from a 2-boat length deficit to an 8-boat length deficit after having to come off the throttles a little bit in that turn over there, it looked like.
Now,
If
you don't want to have something like this affect an outcome, but was that contact enough to cause any kind of a penalty?
That would be interesting. But if GC does overcome TS right now, it would do enough to take, again, pretty much as TS is going for a world championship, or they'll fall all the way to 3rd place if they can't hold off GC here.
Right.
Because that would allow Gladiator to bump up a spot there as a second on that world championship podium.
But Gladiator is just pulling away, heading out to turn 1. But now TS is pulling away from GC. So
Yeah, so we can follow our leaders. We're heading out towards turn number 1 right now. We'll see them for the last time as they head around turn 1 for the final left-hand turn here in Key West over 3 days of racing. Michelle Carcente,
Irvin Grant,
and Irvin Grant in Gladiator Canados. They'll find themselves on the podium tonight after this finish.
and they're about to lap their sister ship, the Doug Wright boat.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll be interesting where they encounter them.
Yeah.
Michelle has a good enough lead to where I think should be fine. If the two MTIs have to pass them, that could
Right.
make one of them lose some momentum.
So our lead boats, you can see the chopper following overhead.
Yep.
Uh,
Oh, that's Gladiator on the inside, I think. Coming up on the 96 boat. Yep. So they're going past them cleanly. There's a little
Ooh.
bit of
Yeah,
little bit
might,
of air.
Might be getting a little more
It's
wind
picking
out
up.
there right now. Still
Yep.
about an hour and a half in this outgoing tide. So it's still probably running pretty good at this moment.
But they are going to try to bring the Super Cats out right after this. So
Yep.
wonder if that'll make any quick setup calls after watching some of that.
Final look for the fans out at Fort Zachary Taylor. They'll win today. They will not win the World Championship, but they will be on the podium.
Did you see that?
Yep.
Just in
Yeah.
it looked like one of the MTIs had to slow and the other one was coming around the outside. So let's see if there's an MTI drag race here after getting around the 96 dug right. But Gladiator Canados is going to take the win.
And your race is going to be right behind these guys, Grant and Carcente. The win today here in Key West. To the podium tonight in Gladiator Canados. The race behind them, it will determine who the world champion is. And it
And
looks like
GC is
GC
in
Racing
front.
got around them.
Wow.
And they did. There's your world champion, Willie Cabeza, Sean Torrente.
Wow.
It's the inverse of what happened on Friday, too,
Sure
in the last
is.
lap.
It absolutely is. And we could not make out what happened there in the glare behind Canados.
I think, MTI was going to try. I mean, TS looked like they were trying to come inside, and GC went around the outside, keeping the speed up.
And like I said, that took TS from a world championship that last turn and bumped him all the way to third place on the world championship standings. They end up 2 points behind the Gladiator.
Wow. Sean told me the Guardian mode problem they were having was from exhaust temperature sensors.
Yep.
Maybe Johnny's motor laid down on him. It was quite
Yeah.
a bit.
It's definitely something you have to consider for these Mercury Racing engines, the Guardian mode, something that the Super Cat boats save. Liquor Split won't have to negotiate this afternoon. Something you guys don't have to negotiate in
No.
the Mod V class. But as wonderful the Mercury Racing products are, for racing, they can be very frustrating. The Guardian mode to protect these engines from fatal or a fatal shutdown. And
And this is what they're racing for today for the individual trophies, right? The Conch Republic.
yeah, the individual is the Conch Republic Championship here in Key West. Here comes Hank Saloon. They'll finish up in fourth overall here today.
Yeah, so they'll give Gladiator the checkered flag for today.
That's right.
They don't give the overall winner anything on the water. They get that tonight at the awards.
Right. So every boat that races here today and wins today, just like we had the podiums here with the Coconut Man on the outer mole.
You'll have to learn his name next year.
No, he will not. He's absolutely told me he's the world famous Coconut Man.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And it's the official coconut of the World Championships.
Don't argue with a man with a
With
With
a-
machete.
a
Thank
2-foot
you.
machete. No.
Thank you,
And
Steve.
he's barefoot.
Yes, no, thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, you notice I
You keep your distance
I
while
do, I keep
discussing
my-
the coconut.
It's not even that. It's just machete and the shrapnel from the
Yes.
coconuts that'll get you. So yeah, the Conch Republic Cup tonight will be handed out to the winners, and then we'll call to the podium.
Well, how
to the
many?
stage all of the world champions for the 3 days of points.
Think about this. How many podiums were there on Wednesday and Friday? How many times did he cut up a coconut?
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, that guy's
yeah.
in shape.
Two, 3, 4. Sometimes 5. He gives them to the kids.
Yep.
No, it's a lot of fun. And I remember the first time I went out there, I was like, wow, this is a little different. Everybody loves it. It's so cool.
Now, how does it taste with the El Bandito added?
It's pretty good.
I'd say
Tastes like
so.
victory.
There you go. Nicely done.
That's Steve Miklos. He is going to be up on the podium tonight as the world champion in the Sunprint Hooters El Bandito Tequila Team. Look at that. Irvin Grant doing the dance. Super happy.
There you go, Irvin. By the way, the only African American competitor on the course this season, I think.
That's right.
Okay, we'll just keep an eye on Irvin and see if he does any other dancing or falls off. But very proud moment for him.
Absolutely.
Well earned. You know, the boat was flawless. They've had a good season, up and down a little bit here and there, but some of it wasn't their fault. They had some Guardian issues. There was some rubbing and racing at different venues, but it's nice to see, you know, an international boat manufacturer sponsoring a boat in the U.S. And a well-known name in racing and performance boating is the dealer for Gladiator Canados, Scott Conrad.
Yeah.
If you remember that name.
Oh, I do. Michelle is just a great guy.
Yeah.
I've been racing with him since 2000.